Oof. Oh, that is an out of tune guitar. Okay, I'm not gonna waste time and tune that thing up. That's the beginning tune for the day. Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to Adamcast. It's a new week. I have a special guest with me today. Welcome, Savanah. Hello. How you
Thanks for
doing?
having me, Adam. I'm very good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing wonderful. It's been a great day. I got my PS5 in the mail. So not
Nice.
political. I'm very excited to have something outside of politics
My dad
to
has been
focus on.
dying to
Yeah.
get
So tell us
one,
about
but
yourself.
sorry, I think there's a little bit of a lag, so hopefully you're hearing my
Yeah.
responses here. But
Yeah.
back to the
Go ahead.
PS5. My dad's been wanting to get one, and then all the memes came out about how they were immediately sold out. So my condolences to everyone who's trying to get a
Yeah.
PS5 right now.
I tip my
And
hat to all of those
yeah,
people.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And what was your other question? Sorry about that.
Well, I was just, I mean, aside from the PS5, I've been following you for 6, 7 months now. Pretty much when I think in May or maybe the end of May, when I first saw you, you were advocating for Back the Blue, like a Back the Blue rally, but it was almost like a counter protest, I think. And then everyone got all upset at you, like you're not doing what you should be doing. That's for this. So you were like, fine, I'll host my own rally, right? Is that about what happened?
Yeah, that is what happened. So I used to live in Austin, Texas. I recently moved away, but there was a lot of Black Lives Matter and Antifa rallies. And of course, this was post George Floyd. There was a lot of anger towards police. And in my city specifically, there was a huge group of what I like to call domestic terrorists now because, these people have been attacking police, American citizens for the past 6, 7 months without repercussion at all. And I was just disgusted with the way that our police are being treated. And I wanted just one police officer in my city to know that somebody cared about them and someone was appreciative for their work. So
Yeah.
I just went out and I held a Police Lives Matter sign near a BLM rally. I was not infiltrating their rally. I was like, they had to really walk over to me to come and actually be offended by my sign and come attack me. And then they kept telling me, this isn't the place for that, blah, blah, blah. The police are pigs, you're a fascist. So I said, okay, I'll do my own rally. And then, of course, at my own rally, they came and they attacked me again because that's how things work in America when you're a conservative.
Of course. Of course. Yeah, I've actually made a point of, I mean, I've always actually done this, whenever I see a firefighter or a police officer, I always say, thank you for your service. I appreciate you. And military members also, whenever I see a military member or find out that someone I'm talking to is ex-military, people don't give them enough credit, I don't think, including police officers. So it's something that I try to, say thank you for service. And actually, on Saturday during the DC rally, so I parked my car, I think north. I don't know exactly which direction, but it was on the other side of the BLM walkway, or strip, whatever plaza. And I had to pass
Mm-hmm.
through the Black Lives Matter plaza to get over to where the Trump rally was. And I
Yeah.
didn't realize it at first where I was going. I'd never actually been to
Mm-hmm.
DC. So I saw a bunch of cops standing there and I walked up to them and I said, "Hey, thanks for your service." And, I was just standing around looking around and someone came up to me and said, why did you do that? Why do you feel the need to thank them for their service? Who do you think is around here? And I answered the question. I was like, because they're serving the public and I appreciate them.
Yeah.
And then to answer your second question, it looks like a bunch of American citizens exercising their right to assemble. Like, okay, and you could tell he was agitated. He was clearly, I mean, I'm white. I don't know if you noticed. He wasn't. I don't like talking about race, but he was very clearly racially charged. But then he proceeded to tell me how all of his kids are successful, and then he's now successful, and how I shouldn't be thanking the police because he's actually successful, so they didn't need to actually be there. And it was like, okay, that's a lot to, um, unpack,
Decipher.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
like, I'm happy you're successful. I'm happy that your kids are successful. Those cops aren't here for you. Clearly, they're here for the people that are probably going to cause harm. Of course, what happened later in that day, right? I mean, it was
Yeah.
insane.
Hmm.
So, man,
Yeah, it's very
yeah. So
interesting
that's
what's currently going on in our country and, the response towards police officers. And before we started rolling, actually, I was talking to you about how I started off the year very pro police advocate. But
yeah,
now that I have been reporting for 6 or 7 months, because that's what I do, I go do riot and protest coverage. So I've been to Portland, I've been to DC, I've been to Philly when they were looting, Austin, Texas when they were burning things down and, breaking windows. So I've been across the nation and I've watched a lot of these riots happen and I've covered them for months. And I've watched as the police have stood down as American citizens get attacked. And Washington, D.C. this past weekend, after the Million MAGA March, was one of the worst examples that I've ever seen of this. They not
yeah,
only stood back and watched Trump supporters get attacked, but they actually, at one point in the night, were redirecting Trump supporters back into the crowd of BLM and Antifa members, where they then got attacked. So it was
really,
it was. And and as a journalist too, or a reporter, whatever you want to call me, I even went up to the police and I said, excuse me, why are you being told to stand down? Why is it okay for this to happen? Why are you allowing these people to be attacked? And they basically said, well, there's a lot
yeah,
of people here. There's not really much that we can do. We're trying to keep everyone safe, not just specific people, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, okay, the biggest example that I saw that night, which really pissed me off with how the police were handling the whole situation, was these Antifa members were lighting fireworks and throwing them at outdoor bars where Trump supporters were having dinner. And they did this
yep,
throughout the night. And what would end up happening is they would light the firework. The police would see it in the street, try to stop it and say, rush them out of there. They would just run down the street, light another firework down the street, and throw it into a different restaurant. So they're not arresting any of these people. They're letting them run rampant. I watched an old man get attacked, women, children. The police were even telling people, because in BLM Plaza where you were, there were a couple of hotels. And around maybe 4 or 5 p.m., the sun goes down, people get a lot more bold. The big group of Antifa and BLM had amassed there in front of those hotels where Trump supporters were trying to get back. Instead of helping Trump supporters get to their hotel rooms, the police said, sorry, you need to leave. I can't help you. You need to go. So the police were either redirecting the Trump supporters into the crowd and telling them, you got to walk that way. There's nothing I can do. Or they were basically telling them, sorry, there's nothing I can do. You need to leave the situation. Good luck. You're on your own.
wow.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Now, do you think it's because Mayor Bowser's, a Democrat, and it's a very Democrat-run city? I mean, you think about the places that you've been and the police that you've seen, they're run by uh, blue areas essentially.
Right.
Now
Right.
I'm not defending what they did. Obviously, if you follow an order that you feel is unjust, you're part privy to it. But there is some they consider themselves, I mean, the way, I've never been a police officer myself, but as far as I've understood about the way police precincts work is, they work together and they're a team, and
Hmm.
if you go against the grain, then you're, I'm not saying I think there needs to be some reform in that sense, because they're clearly needing to up what they're doing, especially if they're letting this violence happen and they're being told to leave. It's like,
Right. And I'm glad that you did bring up that point too, because I know that this is not just the fault of the police, and it's not the police that are just like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to let this happen. I know that it really does come from the top down. And it is these Democratic mayors and governors who are allowing the police to be defunded or telling them to stand down. That's why in
yep,
Portland as well, people don't even get arrested, because the police are like, okay, we're going to arrest them. Guess what's going to happen? The DA, the AG, they're going to let them out immediately. They're not
yep,
going to, actually prosecute people and hold them responsible. They let these criminals out night after night. And these people know there's no repercussion for their actions, which is why they continue to attack people, which is why they continue to destroy small businesses and break windows and do whatever they want. There's chaos and anarchy in these Democrat run cities. And, I
yeah,
think I got so red pilled, if you will, because I come from Austin, Texas. And when I first moved there 2 years ago, beautiful city, great tourism industry. It no homeless on the street. Our police weren't defunded. 2 years later, I personally watched our Democrat mayor defund the police and pass a public camping ordinance. So the homeless were allowed to camp wherever they wanted to. I had homeless people now coming, onto my apartment property, digging through trash. At night, I was scared to leave my own apartment because I lived alone. I was by myself. The violence went up in the city. There are tent cities in Austin now. People pee on the streets. It's pretty much mini LA up there. And that city was so beautiful when I first moved over there. And it's destroyed now. It's gross. It's disgusting. The tourism industry has suffered. The police have been defunded by a third. I think they had one of the biggest budget cuts actually in the country. They were defunded by 150 million. So yeah, it was very heartbreaking to see what Democrat policies actually do to a city.
Yeah. I think New York actually defunded their police by 1 billion. The New York City.
But I
Did you
think
hear
in
that?
terms of, oh, sorry, I was just going to say, I think in terms of like the total budget, Austin had the
Total
biggest
budget
chunk.
cut,
Yeah,
like
total budget.
percentage.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Minneapolis, they actually, I don't want to say refunded the police, but they actually allocated, I think, $500,000 to hire outside officers to come in and help stop the crime because they defunded the police. My gosh. Like,
it's like they have to learn the hard way. I'm like, how about we just don't defund the police and let criminals run rampant? It's like, you have a security camera in front of your house and then you actively are letting criminals watch you take your security camera down. You're like, okay, I'm going to leave the door unlocked. Don't commit crime. Don't rob me. Thanks. That's essentially like defunding the police.
And putting a sign out in front too that says like, I don't have a security system, but please don't do anything to take any of my things that I worked hard for. Please, with a big please. Like, I voted for Joe Biden underneath it.
Dude, everyone in Portland, there's my Joe Biden sign. Please don't attack my house.
Fun what's up with that? They don't like Joe Biden either.
I know that is the best part of all of this. It's just that all these people voted for Joe Biden thinking they were going to appease the mob. The people in the streets, and I was in DC on election night, all election night. F Joe Biden. We don't give a damn about Joe Biden. Kamala's a cop. And I really do think that a lot of these Antifa and BLM terrorists in the streets are Bernie supporters who are mad that Bernie never got that nomination. They had previously said throughout the year that if Bernie didn't get the nomination, that heads were going to roll, basically. Things were going to get burned down and there was going to be anarchy, and look at where we are now.
That's true. They did say that, didn't they? Yeah. Wow. And now, exactly. I mean, they're destroying every building, not, and you think about what they did. They legalized all drugs. What is that going to do? Actually, maybe it'll subdue them all.
Have you seen that meme? And it's like a line of cocaine in a plastic straw, and it says only one of these is illegal in Portland.
Yeah, that's embarrassingly accurate.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know what's gonna happen. It's just insane. Well, what do you think about the whole election thing? What's would you say who you voted for?
I voted for Donald Trump. No, I proudly voted for Donald Trump. First presidential election that I voted in 2016. I was living in London. So that was, the first time I was old enough to vote. I was like, oh, what's an absentee ballot? I'm young, I'm dumb. I don't care about the presidential election. This year was very different. And I proudly voted for Donald Trump because I have been following him. I've been following his policies. I appreciate what he has done. And I'm not even going to say for minority communities. For Americans all over this country.
Thank you.
Because, I mean, I'm tired of us trying to like divide people and faction people off. No, he has done so much for every single America. Doesn't matter if you're Black, Hispanic, white, Asian, his policies. And I think it's so funny too, because people are like, oh, Donald Trump's a racist. And I'm like, okay, show me which policy is geared only towards white people and show me which policy he's taken away rights from the LGBTQ community or from Hispanic or Black people. Show me one policy where he has taken away rights because everyone was so upset saying that Donald Trump was such a racist. No one can name any racist policy because there is none.
They always just do he said there's nice people on both sides. It's like, oh gosh.
Oh my gosh. And that pisses me off more than anything too, because it's such a lie. Yeah, it's such a lie. And the thing that makes me so frustrated about that is that it's been debunked so many times too. It's like, at least come up with a better lie.
Yeah. And they keep asking him, "Oh, do you denounce white supremacy?" It's like he doesn't need to. Why aren't you asking Joe Biden the same question? Because he actually has said
Exactly.
racist things. He's actually been connected with the KKK. Like, why are you asking
Mhm.
Donald Trump? It's Joe Biden you should be asking these questions. And why? Just the fact that they're asking it is offensive. It's like he shouldn't even have to answer that, because just
Adam,
answering it.
it's such a waste of time, and it really is reflective of who our media is as a whole. They're deceptive,
Yes.
they're dishonest, and they don't care about actual news, because Trump denouncing white supremacy for the 58th time on national television should not have been a question asked by Savannah Guthrie at his town hall. That was such a
Right.
waste of time. It was
Yep.
ridiculous. She could have been asking him about a multitude of other things that were important, like, hey, Jerry Nadler just said that Antifa is an idea, even though Antifa has been killing Trump supporters in the street. What do you think about that, Mr. Trump? No, they're asking
Right.
him to denounce white supremacy. It's ridiculous.
A myth. He said it was a myth. It
Yeah,
wasn't even
yeah.
an idea. It was a
Oh yeah,
myth.
Joe Biden said it wasn't, or who said it was an idea? Was it Joe Biden?
Joe
I can't
Biden
even
said it.
keep up. Yeah, yeah.
I
He said
know,
it was.
right?
Nadler said it was a myth. That was fun.
The hypocrisy on all of these people, the Democrats, is just it's just ridiculous. Do you know who Philip
Hmm.
Anderson is? He
Maybe his name sounds familiar.
he's the one who got his teeth knocked out in
Oh, yep,
San
yep.
Francisco by
Hmm.
well, it was actually a Black Lives Matter activist,
Yep.
knocking out his teeth because he was out there fighting big tech. It was not even like, this is what I don't understand. He was there fighting for free speech and
Yeah.
against big tech. Why are they even upset about this? What exactly are they fighting for? They do they want censorship? So Antifa wants big tech, big government to
Yeah,
censor
Adam, they
people?
want
Isn't that
fascism.
fascism? Isn't that
They
fascism?
are literally fighting for fascism under the guise of anti-fascist. It's so
Yep.
ridiculous to me. And you talk about Philip Anderson, and he is one of many, many, many people who are not even like Trump supporters, but just people, reporters. I can name a whole list of them who have been attacked by Antifa. Me as well, personally. The last time I reported in Austin, I got
Yeah.
mobbed. I got mugged. They stole my phone. They stole my equipment. I had a
Oh, wow.
grown man. Yeah, I had a grown man push me to the ground, and a bunch of women come and kick me. They learned real quick that Hispanic people fight back, and they backed up. Yeah.
Nice.
So that ended better for me because I was by myself out there. I had a mob of 10, 12 people who were all attacking me. It was ridiculous. Like, I'm a small Hispanic woman, and these are the people who are supposed to be fighting fascism, and they said that they attacked me because I was recording them without their consent, blah, blah, blah. And again, they're using these fascist tactics of silencing people
Yep.
that they don't agree with. And
Mhm.
it's not even, they try to say to, oh, like, we're fighting for the Black man or the minority communities who are oppressed. No, they're oppressed. They're the ones oppressing minorities in this country, genuinely
Absolutely.
oppressing them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just like Philip Anderson, like he's
Hmm.
a Black American man, and they knocked out his teeth.
Yeah.
Another Black man, I don't like adding race, because just like you said earlier, describing President Trump, he doesn't he was making good for all Americans. We're all
Exactly.
American. What
Hmm.
happened to that? What happened to why are we so divided? Oh, right, because they want us divided. They want us fighting each other, because if we all came together, they would have no more power. Their control
Hmm.
would no, their control is slipping through their fingers like water, because we have the internet. Mainstream media has no more power.
Yeah.
That's what that's what this feels like. This feels like the last ditch effort to try to maintain control. Joe Biden, that man as president, what? He can't even complete a sentence coherently.
Adam,
What?
let me tell you. So I produced Slightly Offensive with Elijah Schaefer, and we
Great
actually
show.
had, yeah. So our last episode, we interviewed a Black supremacist. He's like really hates white
Really?
people, calls them sub. He says they're not even human. It's a great episode. I encourage people to go watch it. But I'm bringing this
Wow.
up because this guy Ghazi Kodo, Black supremacist, is laughing, saying no one believes Joe Biden won this presidency. The Black
Nobody.
community is laughing. You really think that Joe Biden got more votes than 2008 Obama. He's laughing. This like black supremacist who literally hates conservatives. Like, we are
Yeah.
finding common ground with the fact that nobody believes this. Joe Biden can't even form a coherent sentence, and this man got more votes
Nobody.
than Obama.
No one believes it.
Yeah,
Dude, hey, he's racist.
laughable.
He made it. The crime bill, the things that all the different plagiarisms that he's done in his past, and then not even to mention Kamala Harris. It's like, of course, there's
Don't
something
get me started on
faulty.
Kamala.
Oh,
Whew.
trust me. Let's not waste our breath on Kamala. All right, or Kamala. I don't even care. I don't even care how to say her name correctly. I don't even want to. I want to talk about how does it happen? Dominion. You know about this?
I know about this, Adam. I've been keeping
I know
up.
you do.
I've been working 8-day work weeks, but I'm still keeping up with everything that's going on with this election.
Tell me what you know. Tell me. I mean, I follow it too. I'm in the dirt, ruffling through everything, trying to figure out as much as possible. So let's cross reference. What do you know about it?
So I like to listen to Dan Bongino. I
Good.
have not had a day off since Halloween because it's election season. And if you're in the media, that means nonstop work. So I've been trying to keep up with every single angle of this election. Obviously, been more focused on the riots and everything that's been going on. But in my off time, I've been listening to Bongino, and he, I think, interviewed Rudy Giuliani. And Giuliani was saying how Dominion, of course, is, I believe, a Canadian company. And for some reason, our votes were being counted in Spain. So our votes were getting processed in Spain and counted in Spain. And then also
Germany.
in Germany, okay, apparently I'm learning this for the first time too. And, Dominion had this glitch where it glitched and took 6,000 votes for Trump and switched them to Joe Biden. And also in this software, there are settings to where whoever is counting these votes can actually switch them to whichever way they want. So it's very interesting to me. And more and more is coming out about Dominion. I believe in Philadelphia as well. They just put out these redacted documents, and the portion where it asks, are there any other countries affiliated with this software? It's redacted out because many people are speculating China or any of these other countries who want to see America destroyed. What's the easiest way to do that? Destroy our election. Look at where we are right now. It's a complete mess. And there's so many discrepancies with Dominion.
There's so many. And you said those 6,000 votes that switched, that was one county. One. And it was
out of
used
what, 47?
In that one state, and then it was used in 30 different states. And that's just the software. That's not even talking about the mail-in ballots that they sent out to basically everybody. I actually, I don't know if I flew out to Arizona to actually go vote.
Did see that. I did. I was like, Donald Trump, please retweet this man because he's so dedicated to getting you reelected. Like that was real awesome. Patriotism, Adam. That was awesome.
When he wins, I'm gonna meet him eventually. I put that energy out there. But so when I went out there, I actually have been checking on the website. I still don't know if my vote was counted. I'm checking. I check every day. Just like, did my vote count? It says what your last vote was, and it still has yet to register what my last vote is. So I don't even know if it counted, But man, there is discrepancies in Arizona counting. I'm there at my former residence. I actually just packed up and moved to officially move here. And wouldn't you know it, there was a mail-in ballot for me and for my sister, who hasn't lived there for 15 years, for her maiden name. She's been married for 14 years now.
Maiden date. They censored that off of Twitter. Why did they censor it?
Why did they censor it?
Information? Because we're exposing what's actually happening. And you know what, Adam, I want to bring this up too, how I really feel like the media is complicit, and people are speculating that the media is working alongside Dominion because it's now coming out too that Democrats in the past, like Amy Klobuchar, had even complained about how Dominion was not a safe software to use because of all of the glitches. So I'm like, the media is covering all of this up, and this is the biggest psychological manipulation of an entire country via the media that we have ever seen, because the media is point blank. Okay, like, let me make an analogy here. We're watching a man get stabbed, right? And the media's like, no, that's not happening. Don't look at, no, it's not happening. You can see it's happening, but the media says it's not happening, so it's not
Look
happening.
over there. It's a just look over there, please.
Yes,
Please look over there.
no, but there's a guy getting stabbed. No, no, he's not. Just look away. That's not happening. That's fake. That
That's
has not
a
been.
fake. That's a fake dagger. With
Yeah,
the blade
yeah,
that
it's
goes
fake.
inside the handle.
Exactly. So
No,
it's
that's
just
real
the
blood.
biggest gaslight of ever, Adam. And it's the
Ever.
craziest time to be paying attention to the election and to politics because, like I said, even Democrats admit that this is fishy. Joe Biden was not popular. Let's look at the numbers of supporters Joe
Yep.
Biden drew out versus who Trump drew out. Okay, let's
Yep.
look at the actual numbers on the ground. It's it's voter fraud, rampant voter fraud, and
Absolutely.
we're going to see it come out.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. As I was saying earlier, this does feel like that last ditch effort to really just pull out all the stops. And then I actually read a thread on Twitter the other day, which kind of made sense to me. There's so much blatant fraud. We're seeing it with Dominion, with the mail-in voting. In Oakland, California, did you hear about this? The Republican nominee for, I forget what seat that they were running for. The Republican conceded, lost by 100 votes, was like, well, that sucks. I concede.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out they won by 1,500 votes. And that's in California, in
Yeah.
California. So, and they called it like that, like, oh, all the Democrats won in California. Like, what?
And
Wait
that's
a
the
minute.
thing too. And that's what's going on right now as well. And I don't know if this was the same thing for California, but right now it's not official sources who have called our election. It's the media who has called our election. But the media
Yep.
does not decide. The courts decide. And even Fox News right now, which is supposed to be a conservative network, is laughing in the face of the Trump administration, saying, "How are you going to pull out these votes? Where are these votes coming from?"
Yep.
Technically, no one has any electoral votes because the courts have not decided anything yet. So
Correct.
until the courts decide,
Yep.
to me, Joe Biden hasn't won, Trump hasn't won, everything is up in the air. I think too, I just saw this the other day that I don't remember the exact number, but it's like millions of dollars are just in limbo because people bet on Trump or Joe Biden
Oh,
to
yeah.
win. And, the courts have not called it. It still has not been officially called until I believe December 14th is that last day when we'll finally get that decision. So even
Yep.
people who are making bets in all these gambling sites, just millions up in limbo because there is no official winner of this election.
Yep. When the betting finally is settled,
Exactly.
that's really who calls it. That's the officials that will call it. It's
Mm-hmm.
really interesting. My wife is Swedish, and she's talking to her family and her friends back home, and they know my position. I'm very public about who I voted for and what
Mm-hmm.
my opinions lie. And the media is spinning it that Trump is an idiot, that Trump is, he's got no evidence and there's no voter fraud at all. Like, why wouldn't he just transition peacefully? And it's like, that's how they're
Oh
projecting it to
gosh.
the outside world too. So, I mean, they're asking these questions like, how can you still defend it? Why is he not conceding? Like, there's no fraud. They've proved there's no fraud. And it's like, okay, look, you know what? Just wait until everything's done. All right. Like, I can't even have this conversation because there's just so much stuff that I've gone through, and if they believe that there is no fraud, then unless I present all of the information that I've learned over the past, how do you sum it up in a simple conversation? You really can't. There's so much. But back to bring over what I was going to say earlier about this thread that I read on Twitter. It's
Mm-hmm.
almost as if they know that they're going to get caught, right? There's so much fraud that the Dominion, the mail-in stuff, like the keeping the
They
the
overplayed their
GOP calendars,
hand.
but
Mm-hmm.
maybe on purpose. Though this is what that thread alluded to, that maybe they were doing it on purpose because even if, let's just hypothetically, Joe Biden wins, right? The American, you see, right? The Republicans, the conservatives, they're not rioting, they're not burning anything down. They would go, okay, we're gonna get even more political. We're gonna have even more people run for office. We're gonna we're gonna take this country back legally.
Exactly.
That's what the conversation is if he doesn't win, which I think he's gonna win because of voter fraud. But if you think about it, America really is that last bastion of freedom on this
Mm-hmm.
globe China wants to take over this country, or I mean the globe, but I'm sure this country. They've openly
And
said
Adam,
it.
can I interject here too, since we are
Yeah, go
talking
ahead.
about China? The way that I got my start with protest and riot coverage is in Hong Kong. That was the first
Really?
protest that I covered, yes. And the reason why I'm so passionate about our freedom, our republic, and our country
Yeah.
is because last year in August, I was in Hong Kong and I watched true communist, like, people truly fighting against communism and truly fighting for their freedom. The people in Hong
Yeah.
Kong love America. They love Donald Trump. They were waving American flags. The difference is here in America, they're waving communist flags and burning American flags. Meanwhile, in a city that is actually going to be taken over by communist China, they're waving the American flag. They're pushing back against communism. They're pushing back against the Chinese. And I interviewed a lot of them, and I could only interview them from here down because facial recognition, they would get disappeared. And I asked them, are you guys really
Wow.
getting disappeared? What's life like over here in Hong Kong? They speak out against the Chinese government. They're never seen from again or heard from again.
Wow.
So all of the Antifa and BLM members here who are burning American flags and trying to push that into our country, they're going to learn very quickly and have a very, very hard lesson to learn if communism is actually enacted into this country and they're silenced, they're being enslaved, because that's genuinely what it is. And so that's why I'm so passionate about this too, and like so
Yeah.
vehemently against China, is because I got my start in Hong Kong and those people truly care about freedom.
Yep. So you saw it firsthand. Wow.
It was crazy. Like, I've never seen unity like I did in Hong Kong against the Chinese. And they were talking to me too about how there really is a social credit score over there. How
Wow.
if you jaywalk, there's facial recognition towers everywhere, and they'll take off your social credit score. And you can look this up right now too. Business Insider, it's an article. I believe it was millions and millions of people were unable to get train tickets or plane tickets because their social credit score was too low, because they spoke badly about the Chinese government, because they jaywalked, because they didn't obey government orders to a T. Sounds crazy, sounds like a Black Mirror
Wow.
episode, because it is, but it's also real life.
Yeah. Wow. That's frightening. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how do they go about really enacting that in America? Because if, again, going back to that hypothetical situation that Joe Biden won, we're
Mm-hmm.
not going to burn the system down. We're going to fight. I mean, obviously, I'm considering myself a conservative now, because I am finding out I'm much more conservative than I was when I was younger. I'm in my late 30s or mid 30s, whatever. And, I personally, I like to only speak about myself. I would just get more political. I'd be like, all right, the system's definitely flawed. I'm going to be even
Mm-hmm.
more political. Of course,
Right.
this is basically a political show that I run now, but it's like, what do they really need? They need people pissed. They need people to try to burn the system down, push out, like, whatever, that we're going to convince the public that we know will listen to us and trust us, because that's what that's why there is a scene for Joe Biden in the first place, anti-Trump, whatever rhetoric. They're going to be like, Biden won. Everybody tell everyone that Biden won and Trump lost, and let's push that narrative so that when all this stuff comes out, they're not going to believe it. They're not going to believe that
Mm-hmm.
there's voter fraud. They're going to believe that Trump somehow cheated and did something nefarious, and then they're going to riot. They're going to actually try to burn the system down. And that's their outlet. So that's what this thread was saying. And I found it really interesting because there's just too much fraud. There's too much. Although I did read another thread about how, because the algorithms in Dominion software is built to try to keep Joe Biden just ahead of Trump, right? Just to like squeak the win, right? Trump
Yeah.
was winning so drastically because Americans actually like him as a president, because he's a good president. And he was
Mm-hmm.
winning by such drastic numbers that the Dominion software was like, it must switch more votes over. And it was just like so drastic that they didn't expect it to switch that drastically. So it was like,
And
now
Adam,
there's so much.
I
Go
do want
ahead.
to bring up too, because this forever will be my favorite graphs. The graphs of Michigan and Wisconsin, and how
Yeah.
right in the wee hours of the morning when everyone's still asleep, like 4 or 5 a.m.,
Boop, boop.
like Trump's winning, and then Joe Biden's here, and then just out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
Yep.
In both states, are you serious? In both swing states, you're joking, right? Are you serious? Am I the only one that thinks that's crazy or suspicious at all?
Oh no, I believe I'm pretty sure everyone watching is probably going, yeah, it was suspicious because it's crazy. Now you got
Yeah.
those I mean Styx Hexenhammer, he's got his new circle because he got like the snake eating itself. Now it's got like the little bar. There's that meme that's just it just says fraud
Fraud.
with
Yep.
it's an F. I like that one. That one's good.
That's a
Man,
good
there's
one.
all sorts. Trump's doing the high jump, and then Biden's doing it, and he just kind of goes this way, but then goes up and over.
Yeah.
I think that one might be my
Yeah.
favorite. I like that
The
one. Yeah,
internet is undefeated always with the memes,
man,
with the
the
memes.
left cannot meme though. That's for sure. I mean, I've seen some bad memes, and you know what I can't wait to do. Do you know the? Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Do you know the? My favorite thing is watching him lose. It is my everything. It is my life. You know what I'm talking about? Hold on. It is. Oh, do I
I
not have
don't know
it
what you're
saved?
talking about, but I want to see it. It
Okay,
sounds
there is.
amazing.
Man, I thought I had it saved. All right, so there's this response that it looks like all these bots, these Biden bots. All right, I call
Mm.
them Biden bots, but they're anyone that's a brand new account made in November 2020 or October 2020. They're reply guys to anybody who's a pro Trump supporter, especially Donald Trump. You'll see it. They go, I love watching Donald Trump lose. It is my everything. It is my reason for living. There's this like, it's this paragraph, and they all are posting it verbatim, just a copy paste, copy pasta on all these different things. And I'm kind of bummed because I had it in my draft with Joe Biden instead of Trump, and I can't wait. I'm basically telling everyone right now, like whatever. I'm gonna tweet that out as soon as Trump actually wins because it's gonna be
Oh my
hilarious.
gosh. The amount of content that I just have bookmarked for
Yep.
if they give Trump this election. Because right now, honestly, I don't know, I
When?
think it's kind of 50-50.
When?
I think it's
No,
50-50
no,
because like part of
no.
me is
It's
kind of
when.
mad with the Trump administration for even allowing the voter fraud to go this far. So I'm kind of beefing with them a little bit there. And I feel like they kind of handled this the same way that they handled big tech, in the sense that
Okay.
we knew big tech was a problem. We've known it was a problem for a long time. They've
Yeah.
been silencing conservatives. Look what they're doing now. They're censoring the president of the United States, but
Sure.
we never, stepped in and did something about it. And now it's too late. And that's how I feel about the voter fraud too. I feel like we should have already been taking the steps. And I'm still fairly newish to politics. I've been in this for about 2 years, maybe 3 years. 3 years ago, you could have asked me what the three branches of government are, and I would have been like, oh, I don't know, I'm an idiot. But now, I have an opinion about all these things. So, in terms of how things work, who needs to do what to get things done, I know that
Yeah.
there's a system to it. It can't just be Trump being like, okay, no more Section 230. I know there's a process. But in saying that, I think that as our president, he could have done a little bit more for the voter fraud and for big tech. So,
I don't
yeah,
know if I
that's my
agree.
concern.
I think it's almost like if he had if it wasn't as exposed as it is right now,
Hmm.
it wouldn't have had such a drastic impact. Right now, you think of what's going on. He's poised essentially to expose the biggest voter fraud ever. I mean, as far as we know,
That's true. That's true.
and then look at what big tech is doing. They are announcing Joe Biden won. They're pushing it.
He's like
Everyone in Europe,
baiting everyone into it. Everyone's
everybody,
complicit.
and it's
Hmm.
it's going hand
That's
in
a good
hand.
point.
It's not just the election fraud. It's all of his tweets are being disputed. None of Joe Biden's are. I just said Sweden. Their news media is saying Joe Biden won. Why? Trump is trying to cheat the system, and it's like, whoa, that's what they're. So big tech and the election fraud, they're one and the same.
Hmm.
It's almost like two. There's people. I'm vegan, and there's vegans that get mad at the two birds, one stone analogy, but whatever.
Really?
Yeah, they get mad at it. I don't care. Whatever. It's like it's two birds with one stone. He's capturing everyone who's doing the election fraud while
Hmm.
also exposing all of the news medias, the big tech
That's
companies that are.
complicit.
So it's like the biggest trap ever, and it's coming out. Like you've seen all of the voter fraud stuff and it's crazy, and all of
Yeah.
the news media. I mean, the Blaze is incredible. Like, that is the new news. Now we got Newsmax. I think they're going nuts now. Like, their stock is skyrocketing. OANN is now. People don't trust regular media anymore. They are trusting people like you and I guess myself too. Because we both. You said you do 8 hours of research. You're keeping your nose to the grindstone, taking in all this information, passing it along. And people trust that. They don't trust this when you watch the media and then you can cross-reference them with every single other media and it's literally verbatim of what they're saying. It's like, gosh, there's no authenticity there.
I'm glad you're bringing up this point as well, because I was actually on Elijah's show today. So, people go check out that episode. It'll be dropping later today.
Shout out to Elijah too. What a boss. That dude. Woo! Oh my goodness.
We've been working together for officially a month now. We've been on 3 trips and we went to Philly to go cover the looting. I left his site for 2 minutes, came back, face bloody. He gotten punched in the face.
Oh, you weren't with him when that happened.
Yeah, I was there. I was the one that took the video of the interview. Like, oh my gosh, being in the media is so difficult, because I was like, oh my gosh, Elijah, like, you're bleeding. We should get you to the hospital, but this is also breaking news. So let's shoot a stand up. Yeah, I was like, I know you're hurting, but like, let's shoot an interview because people need to know what happened. So, yeah, I was actually in Philly covering that with him. So shout out to Elijah. He's awesome. But I was on his show today. And what were we just talking about? Sorry, completely, like, we got off track there. What was I going to say there?
Exposing fraud, big tech media being caught together. What else did I bring up? That we're the news now. You and I.
Yeah, that was the point. So Elijah and I have done the same work similarly. This past year, we actually have like a group of independent reporters, and people thank us after every single riot, protest, after the Million MAGA March. We're by name thanked, because people say, if it wasn't for you guys on the ground, if it wasn't for Daily Caller, Blaze, independent reporters on the ground actually live tweeting what's going on, we would have no idea, because the media is not out there reporting on it. You know what happens, Adam? Antifa tells the media, don't record me or we're going to beat your ass. We're going to break your camera. Get away from us. Stop recording. Guess what the media does? They stop recording.
Okay.
So,
okay, bye.
Yeah, exactly. So if it wasn't for the conservative journalists who embed themselves into Antifa and expose all of the attacks on Trump supporters, we would never know what was really going on in this country, because our media cannot be trusted, and they're complicit in all of this. They're complicit in all of it. I really feel like they're complicit in Antifa not being held accountable or responsible for what they're doing. Every independent journalist who's out on the street covering this type of footage is putting their personal, like, their life on the line, because if Antifa figures out who you are, who you work for, or, what you're doing, they will try to kill you. And I personally witnessed this several times.
Yep. Have you been targeted by them yourself?
I have been in Austin, like I said, when I got attacked. They knew who I was just because I reported in Austin so much. They knew.
Yeah.
And, when it comes to my on the ground reporting, like, I am very conservative, but when it comes to my live tweeting and on the ground reporting, I try to be as neutral as possible. So if people are burning an American flag, I say Antifa is burning an American flag. I'm not going to be like, oh, Antifa, who hates America and has just attacked, 10 law-abiding citizens, is, burning American flags in the street, these commies, blah, blah, blah. Like, I keep it extremely neutral, because I think that it's important to keep that neutrality and let people see for themselves what's going on and, form their own opinions and conclusions. But even with that, even with the neutrality, these people they didn't like who I was. They don't like who I am. And so they felt that that was justification to rob me, attack me, and try to beat me up in a mob.
Yep, or basically anyone that falls in that category. So
exactly,
that actually reminds me. There's someone that that keeps posting on all my tweets today. Especially the one that I said that you're going to be joining me. They said, "Well, are you gonna address the fact that the Proud Boys were antagonizing Antifa and they were starting all these battles?" And I'm not even going to respond to that on Twitter, but I want to talk about it now. Because and I want to hear what you have to say about it. I'm just gonna say this. When I got to the MAGA rally on Saturday in DC, I was walking through the crowd and it was awesome. It felt so good. There was a lot of smiles. Everyone was, the camaraderie
real unity
was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unity really was there. And every so often there would be someone in black bloc on a bike, riding through, yelling slurs, yelling. I mean, I heard every slur in the book, honestly. Like, I heard things I've never heard before in my life. Like, I can't believe this person's actually yelling this.
Like
And
actual
I mean,
racism. Yeah.
actual racism. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw it. And it was a dude yelling at all of us because we're marching for the president, who is the president, by the way, Mr. Black Bloc guy, whatever. And
Mhm.
this happened multiple times. And there was I did see a group of Proud Boys. They're very prominent in their black and yellow shirts. I believe that's the Proud Boys, right? Is it black and yellow? Is that? I'm
Yes, it
not
is.
actually sure. I think so, but I saw a big group of them, and they were walking with the crowd, and there was a guy on the bike that was yelling at him, yelling slurs like, "You guys are whatever, whatever," and they're like, come over here and get off your bike and say that, like, we're over here in this unity, like, marching. So I saw them get antagonized throughout the day from these random. It looked like an Antifa member. You never know, but it was an all black on a bike from a distance, yelling at them, antagonizing them all day. And then, of course, now, we find out later on that then, of course, they were scuffling and whatever, whose fault was it, whatever. But as you said, the mainstream media, they're not reporting on the Antifa side. They're reporting on the Proud Boys side. Like, the Proud Boys were attacking people. And it's like, oh my gosh. So who's
And Adam,
antagonizing who?
so
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I, not to shamelessly plug, but I would, again, like I said, I like people to not listen to me. Go believe your own eyes. Go do your own
Yes.
research. I was on the
Properly.
ground in
Yep.
DC Saturday night doing my regular riot coverage at Sav
Yep.
underscore says underscore on Twitter. I highly
It's
encourage
actually in
people
the
to
description
go.
below. You can click
Thank you.
on it in
Thank
the
you.
description. It's your Twitter
I would
handle.
highly encourage people to go watch the videos from that night because I have a full thread of attacks on Trump supporters. Now,
Yep.
a lot of people keep trying to say too, like you said, oh, well, the Trump supporters started it, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I witnessed over 10 plus attacks on children, on an elderly man who was trying to walk his bike down the street. He didn't antagonize anyone. On Trump supporters sitting and eating in outdoor restaurants, not hurting anyone, fireworks thrown, blown up on their tables. So when people say that the Proud Boys are the problem, they are clearly uninformed and they clearly are not actually reporting from on the ground because
Agreed.
Antifa are the ones that are antagonizing people, that are instigating, that are screaming racial slurs. Adam, when the sun goes down, people get a lot more bold. And it was at 3:30 p.m. was, some of the first altercations that I saw. And these were from people visibly wearing Biden hats and BLM gear. This Black woman takes her 8-year-old child, puts her child, and this is on my Twitter account, in front of her so she can go up to Trump supporters and scream F you, F Trump, F you, F you, F you, and flip them off in their faces. She uses her child as a human shield to go and scream at Trump supporters. And there are children
Wow.
passing by. And this woman's so deranged that she's screaming at these little children in Trump hats. Okay, so that's one example. Another example, a Trump supporter is trying to go back to his hotel room. He can't even walk through the crowd because these people were targeting anyone with a Trump flag or in a red hat. Okay, red hat, it was like, when a bull sees a red cape, that was what a MAGA hat was on Saturday night to these Antifa types.
Yeah.
They were attacking
Wow.
anyone with a Trump flag, with a MAGA hat on. And at the end of the night, the Proud Boys went and stood up for all of the people who were being maliciously and viciously attacked all night. Adam, I've never had to walk away from reporting before because as a woman, females are more emotional. And as a woman, it's very difficult for me to watch people get hurt and get attacked. And it's even hard for me to watch the American flag get burned. It makes me want to cry, but I usually can just push through, focus on the news, focus on the fact that this is breaking, needs to get out. I had to step away for the first time in my career from reporting on that because I witnessed so many attacks and I witnessed the police standing down all night and I just couldn't do it anymore. I took a flagpole to the face after they destroyed a Black man owned a Trump stand. They destroyed the whole thing. There was a big pole of Trump flags. They threw it, hit me in the face. At that point, I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. After they robbed the stand, they went across the street and they burned everything that they stole.
Wow.
And for the first time ever, I had to walk away because I physically couldn't watch people get assaulted anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It
And
was pretty insane.
I commend you for your work. I've been following you. You know, you're one of the people that I'm just like all the rest of the people that, and I'll thank you right now. Thank you for being out there, because you know, you getting hit in the face is you got hit in the face for reporting what people really need to see. They need to know what's actually going on there, you know, and that really what it is. It's a, you know, it's a reaction. And then if the cops aren't going to do something, there's going to be someone that fills that void to protect citizens. It's not even, I don't even want to say Trump supporters, because they're Americans. They're being attacked simply by
Hmm.
supporting the actual president of the United States. There's no civil discourse anymore. They threw that out the window. Now they're just attacking and viciously, I mean, they burned that man's livelihood. You know, that
Yep.
he probably had a lot of money invested in all of that product. You know, Black Lives Matter, and you burn down his inventory because he might not have even been a Trump supporter. He might have just been selling product that he had. Who knows?
Capitalism. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
And you
whatever.
know, it's so funny
Capitalism.
too, because you see so many people who are like, one day they're selling BLM stuff, and then a Trump rally rolls into town, they're selling Trump stuff. So you're completely right when you say that this person probably wasn't even a Trump supporter. He could have well been a Trump supporter, but he may not even have been a Trump supporter. He
Right.
was just there like, okay, I see my opportunity. I'm going to make some money off of it. And yeah, they
Yep.
just completely destroy. And I like the point that you made too. And I had tweeted this out the other day, and I just said, for all the people demonizing the Proud Boys, the police do not allow conservatives to protect themselves. The police wait for an attack to happen, and then they'll break it up. But as soon as you as a conservative try to fight back and protect yourself, you're the one that's going to go to jail. Look at what happened to Kyle Rittenhouse. That is clear-cut case number one. That was a self-defense thing. Elijah Schaffer was there. He was the person who took that footage. He saw exactly what happened. Kyle
Yep.
Rittenhouse right now is being called a murderer, a white supremacist is being demonized for self-defense. And if the police are not going to protect us, they need to allow us to protect ourselves. So when the Proud Boys go out there and they beat Antifa ass, maybe you shouldn't be domestic terrorists and destroy everything in sight and attack children and the elderly. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that. It's hard to, I mean, hard to argue against that, you know, because I
Yeah.
mean, you're right. You're right. They're burning down this country.
Maybe
How
don't
are they
attack
how
little
are
old
they
women
allowed?
with Trump flags.
Yes. Yeah, don't attack old people. Respect your elders. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just one piece of it, you know? It's like, my
Mhm.
goodness, they're attacking kids now. They're using children as human shields. What? What does the world come to that they're so, it's media. It is the news media, that big tech, that steers the conversation, steers the emotions of all these people, excuse me, that are very emotionally triggered. They're
Yeah.
they're pushing this narrative of Orange Man bad. Anyone who supports him is a racist, and all of this nonsense that they fully believe fervently, just blindly. Like, you know, it's like they're, you know what, you said it perfectly. A bull seeing red loses all focus. All they see is red. All they want to do is
Hmm.
charge and destroy that red. That's really a good analogy for what is going on right now. They can't see logic anymore. They're illogical, they're emotional. All they do is see red, and they want to charge and attack and get rid of the orange man. Okay, well, what happens when he's gone? Well, I don't know. I need to be angry at something. Well, I'll just be angry at America now. And that's it. You can see, actually, that's kind of what they're doing. We must not just defeat Donald Trump. We must defeat Trumpism. It's like, Trumpism? You
And
mean
yeah, that's a great point
loving
too, because
America?
exactly. So many people think, okay, after the Trump presidency, everything will calm down and die down. No. If you wear a Trump hat after this Trump presidency, let's say Joe Biden gets the presidency, if you're still wearing a Trump hat after, because many
Yep.
people are going to be because they love Trump, they support Trump. If
Yeah.
you're wearing Trump gear still after Joe Biden is president, they will still come out for blood and attack you. This is
Yep.
far from over, and they have been allowed for too long to attack people. And people keep on saying, "Oh, civil war, a civil war is coming." I truly believe we are. Well, not that we're in
We're
one right now
close,
because the
but
right
I
isn't
don't think
fighting
we're,
back,
yeah.
right? But it's getting to a point. It's going to hit a head where you can only attack women and children and the elderly for so long before the Proud Boys double and triple, and then they just they start actually fighting back because they are
Yeah.
done being attacked. They are done watching children be hurt and women and again the elderly. Like I keep stressing that because I
True.
feel like the media keeps telling us that Antifa is not doing this, that BLM is a peaceful group, that it's the right that's instigating this. And it's the biggest gaslighting of ever, I feel. I have
Yeah.
no
No, it
words.
really is. It really
And you
is.
know, Adam, the media ran a huge disinformation campaign, and they're running a huge disinformation campaign right now about what happened this weekend in DC.
Yep.
It's insane to
Yep.
me. They're just completely making up fabrications and pushing them out as biblical truth. And that's not what's
Yep.
happening at all.
This picture was doctored. They clearly it's edited. It's like, no, I was there. There was that
Yeah,
many people. I saw it with
yeah,
my own eyes. I was there. That crowd was there. I saw the crowd with my own eyes. There was that many people there. You're gonna convince me that it was photoshopped? I was there. I saw that many people. This is why I don't think there's gonna be a civil war. I've been me and Tim have had many arguments about this. Back when I was on Timcast IRL, there's a lot of people, many people that voted for Biden that still love America, that still love its values here, that have been convinced that Donald Trump is against the values that they support, which if they only knew, but that's besides the point. There's a small fraction. Supposedly, there's only 15,000 total Antifa members. You think about that. That's not that many people. 15,000. It sounds like a lot. 15,000. But then you
mhm,
compare that to the American population. What is it? Like 350 million now or something? 345 million. They're going to find out very quickly that people pretty much would prefer America over anything else, over them burning down the system, over them beating up our elderly or our children or women, anyone that stands in their way. It's like they're going to find out. So civil war. Think about what civil war means. It's like we're fighting each other. Right
mhm.
now, it feels more like an internet squabble. Like they're just emotionally heated. They're not going to go to arms against other American citizens because most American citizens, and I'm talking the bell curve, okay? There's the crazy left and the crazy right, the bell curve. Most people are in the middle. Most people don't want to fight. Most people just want to live their lives,
Right.
right? So the idea of a civil war would require most of those people that are in the center to start fighting each other. And they're mostly in the middle. I can't see it. I just refuse to accept that there's going to be some sort of civil war because most people don't want women and children and women beat and elderly beat up. That's
Yeah,
I mean if I saw someone beating an elderly, I would go to their aid. Or a woman or a child. I wouldn't
right.
I wouldn't hesitate.
And I
And
think too, I feel the way about this that I do because again, remember that I'm seeing the worst of
yeah.
this every single weekend. I'm watching people attack each other. I'm watching Antifa go and terrorize people in their homes. And I, I feel like maybe again, it's because I'm actively seeing it happen so much as opposed
Yeah.
to say, for example, the average person in Texas. In Texas, we have guns. So Antifa, they're in Austin because Austin is the most liberal part. They're in
Yeah.
Dallas, maybe in Houston, in those bigger cities, and they'll form. But when push comes to shove, they know damn well not to come to neighborhoods. They know damn well that
Yeah.
Texas does not mess around like that. And they
Right.
don't go to residential neighborhoods for a reason. I've always said that too. Like in Portland, the reason why they go and terrorize homes and go flash lights in homes and break windows is because Portland citizens allow that. Because
That's true.
Portland allows that. Texas does not allow that. And that's the difference between Republican and Democrat run states. It's, what the citizens allow. Because at the end of the day, like we have all of the power. The power is in the people.
We the
And
people.
exactly. So uh, yeah, I feel like I'm kind of in like civil war mode because I'm constantly seeing the worst of America every single day. And,
But you're
even
you're
being in
seeing the same
politics,
people though. You're seeing the same people, and you're in the trenches, okay? And again, I commend you for what you're doing because like people like you, people like Elijah, you guys are. I mean, Andy No isn't in the trenches himself anymore. He basically can't because he would.
yeah,
They would probably kill him, honestly. But
Elijah's
he is
getting there too.
I know, and he keeps going out. He's like, I don't care. This needs to be seen. I mean, I've met him. He's a great guy. He's a big dude too, you know. So like, I feel like he could fend for himself. But what are you gonna do against a mob of people that want
Yeah.
you killed? You know, it's
Yeah.
like, but again, you have to remember you're seeing the same type of people. They're traveling. You know, they're going in caravans. Man, they went to Kenosha in caravans. The Wisconsin State Police stopped a bunch of caravans filled with all the requirements to have a riot, and they stopped a bunch of people. And then, of course, it wasn't as crazy of a riot because they actually stopped these people. They're coming
Hmm.
from Portland. They're traveling around. So Antifa that's in DC right now, guaranteed they don't live in DC. Most of the people in Minneapolis, when this whole thing went down, I think it was like 75% of the rioters and looters weren't even from Minneapolis. They
Right.
all
I do
came in from
remember that.
different places.
Hmm.
It's the
And what's
same
funny
group of
too
people.
is whenever those numbers were initially being reported about how all of this rioting and looting that was going on in Minneapolis, it wasn't even people from the city or even the state. It was similar
Yep.
here in Texas because watching
Not a
Austin
surprise.
getting burned was very difficult because that was my hometown and that's where I was living. That was my city. And I was asking the people who were, just making chaos in the street and destroying things. I was like, "Are you from here?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm from Houston. I'm from Dallas." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought because I wouldn't be burning down my own city, you know."
Right.
So
And they don't
that
they
that is
probably didn't want to
true.
burn down their own city too.
Yeah,
They don't live there.
exactly. And I
Whatever.
do agree with you to an extent that they are traveling from different parts of the nation, but I also feel like in specific cities, Portland, California, even here in Texas, in DC, there are factions of Antifa and there are big groups that are there. Like when we are seeing the big numbers, I do think it's a couple of Antifa from out of town, but this is such a big group and a big organization that I do feel like they are a bit more organized than sometimes we give them credence for. But that's just based off of what I've seen. Like I said, everyone's black blocked out, so it's not like I can really identify, faces and
It's true.
names. So,
I mean, I think wearing full black box like gear is a uniform, and I'm pretty
mhm.
sure there's laws against an organized group in full like uniform. And I think that the police need to start using that. Like black bloc is so that no one can see who you are because you're doing nefarious things. It's
Right.
like walking into a bank fully,
With a
in
robber
black
mask
bloc,
on.
basically. Yeah, it's like,
Exactly.
yeah, that's nefarious because you don't want people to see you. Like, I I mean, you're up to no good if you want people. I mean, you and I, we don't hide our names, right? We here's our faces. We're talking about what we want to talk about, which what we're standing up for, what we believe in, and we're not hiding.
Hmm.
The people that are hiding, it's because you have something to hide. Period.
Yeah,
And it's getting
exactly.
ridiculous.
It's
So we
because
are
they know they're
almost out of
committing
time.
criminal
This has been
activity.
such a fantastic conversation. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, Adam, thank you so much for
Seriously,
having
thank you
me
very much
on.
for joining me. Yeah, and if you guys don't know who Savanah is, you really should follow her. She is, as she said, she is on the ground. She now works with Elijah Schaefer, and he is on the ground. That they're doing great work together. It's what is it, slightly offensive, correct?
Slightly offensive, yeah. Go follow us on YouTube. I was on a show today, and I'll give
Yep.
more of an in-depth, I guess, background of what happened on Saturday as well, just with videos.
Right on. All right. So I got a bunch of super chats. Let's get to some questions from the viewers. And first one is from the man behind the screen. Says, "Did I beat Mark to the punch? Let's find out." I don't even know what that means, but okay. It seems like you beat him to the punch. All right. Cracklin says, "I want to hear from Corn Pop. What does he have to say after all these years? He's probably just a bad dude."
Whew.
All right. Matthew Hammond says, "What is it like working for Alex Jones and InfoWars? Did you get on board with them?"
So I did work with Alex for a while. I'm working with Elijah now, but
Yep.
Alex is a lot of fun. He's a lot of energy. The spirit of
Yeah.
1776 definitely flows through that man. He was there on Saturday as well. He did a great
Yep.
speech, and yeah, he's a great guy.
Right on. Man behind the screen again says, "Businesses burned, people bloodied or dead in the streets, nightly harassment in cities, all caused by Antifa/BLM. It's a myth," Nadler said with a smile. as he walked away, waddled. It's not really a walk. It's more of a waddle back to the car. Well, actually, whoever was with him was like, you need to leave, sir. That's going to be clipped and talked about. We can't have that. Let's see. Maria, thank you for that super chat. Matthew says, Sidney Powell better release the Kraken sooner or later. Do you know what's up with the Kraken? Do you know anything about the Kraken? What's up?
So,
what's up with that?
Yeah, all I know is that apparently Sidney Powell has just cut and dry hard evidence that there was voter fraud. And so hopefully, Trump team will be taking that to court and release the Kraken. Get this show on the road, wrap it up, because Americans want to know. Adam, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, let's just decide who won this election already. Like, good Lord, I'm so exhausted. I know, I'm so exhausted.
Yep. Yeah, I'm mentally exhausted too. That's why I'm stoked to have my PS5, because it's a nice, turn my brain off for a little bit. So, yep. Let's see. Crash says, I think Trump will win, but this will be the new narrative that he stole the election as they drag out and to hamstring him for the next 4 years. Yep, exactly. Like I said earlier. Yep. Sheila Huffman, thank you for that super chat. Awesome Human says, look it up, Adam. UN Agenda 2021, UN Agenda 2030, and WEF Event 201. They're following them to the T. Yeah, that's someone actually wanted me to do a deep dive on the Great Reset. This whole thing.
Yeah, did you see that Justin Trudeau clip that came out earlier today?
I did. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Very interesting.
Never let a good, emergency go to waste or something, as the Democrats say. It's like
emergency. Yeah.
Emergency, right? In quotes, of course. I did see that. Excuse me. Red Mage says, it's ironic how people, as you mentioned, were telling Antifa BLM not to attack them because they voted Biden and yet got attacked. Crowder showed a clip of this. Virtue signaling like this is BS and shows how fake people can be. Yeah, but it also shows how intimidation does work. Some people maybe just voted for Biden so they can say that, thinking they'll be safe.
Exactly. It's a sad state.
Yep. Friendly Neighborhood Sawyer says, I'm one of the folks with money in this election. The site I use already called it for Biden and paid out. Now, if Trump wins, someone's getting fired. Ooh, interesting.
Dude, that's going to be a bad day for them. Yeah.
Yeah, because he hasn't won yet. Sorry. Yeah. Aaron Weiss says, what is this China place you speak of? Is it near Taiwan? So I hear. I really want to go to Taiwan. I hear good things about that place. Ramen No Broth says, great show, guys. Philly just locked things down until January 1st.
Yeah.
Wow. RIP this city. Hope you guys are well. Wow. Is that real? Wow.
I have a friend living in New Mexico, and she's saying the same thing, that they actually just shut down again today. And I was telling her, I was like, girl, come on over to Texas. Bars are open, and we're living free over here.
You know what it is? Because it's all coming out, the voter fraud. They need to steer the narrative back to COVID because they need people upset. They need people like, Biden won. All right, conversation over about the election. Don't worry about this whole voter fraud thing that's coming out. Come on, get out of here. They were out celebrating in the streets. Mayor Lightfoot in Chicago had no mask in the center of a crowd, speaking.
But cancel your Thanksgiving.
But cancel your Thanksgiving. And by the way, Trump might be winning now. So mask mandate and COVID's back. Craziness. Let's see. Bulwark says some Arizona voting machines have not been certified Dominion voting system machines in Arizona. What a surprise. Well, it's all coming out.
No.
Come on, Sidney Powell. Release the Kraken. Let's see. Yusef says Project Veritas dropped a GA account. Really? Just dropped a Georgia account or GA? I don't know what that stands for. Maybe Georgia, but interesting. I mean, Project Veritas is another one of those places that if you don't know who they are, check them out because they are exposing. Oof. Yeah. Rob Towell says the Democrats have also been crying about election fraud for years and even audited it and had congressional hearings for just a couple months ago where Harris was on the Election Security Committee. Oh my gosh. And they fought for so long to try to prove that Trump did something nefarious and of course didn't. And then of course Russia collusion. And then that was disproven, and there was absolutely nothing. They claimed for years they had all this mountain of evidence with nothing to show for it. And they want us to believe that there's no election fraud. What?
Isn't that fun how that works? We have to listen to Russian collusion for 4 years, and then as soon as there's real, actual voter fraud and our elections are at stake, they're like, "That's not real."
Yeah, it's embarrassing. They should be embarrassed. Yeah.
Genuinely humiliated.
Byron. Yeah, exactly. Byron Banks says liberal text copy pasta memes like the one you mentioned, Adam, are evolved Chinese struggle sessions for the information age. It's a good point, Byron. Yeah. Matthew Hammond says she is as feisty as Michelle Malkin. Please never tone this down.
Yeah, right, I love when people compare me to Michelle. I love Michelle. She's my Twitter mom.
She is also someone to follow if you don't know who she is. But that's pretty cool. Josh and Jesus says the Antifa punks never pick fights with anyone that looks like they can handle themselves unless they have said person outnumbered. I agree with that.
Very true.
So it's every video I've seen, and well, you've been on the ground, so you can probably verify this more than anyone else.
Yeah, and verified. And verified.
It's been verified. Furby Slayer says she mentioned Hong Kong. That is the interest China has in our election. The world is saying Biden, and just now Hong Kong is dying. Keep fighting, Savanah. Keep it up.
Will do. Thank you. Thank you.
Let's see. Luca says Weedlore is bae. Stop supporting Trump, though. It makes you unbae. I'm not going to cater to anybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you for your thank you. I do what I want, and I'm going to continue doing that. Let's see. Brian Taft says, thank you, Adam, for always being a great encouragement to all of us. Would have loved to have met you in DC on Saturday. You know, it was really cool. A lot of people came up to me. Seriously, thank you for anyone that came up to me. I really do. It was very cool for that it just feels cool, you know, someone just to have come up to you and say thank you, and I watched the show and I really appreciate you, and there's many compliments, so thank you all for saying that to me. You guys were very kind. Let's see. UJ next says, I am not even American, but you make me patriotic. Thank you very much. That's
awesome.
Cool. Oh, I just had a super chat jump. Give me 1 second. My goodness. Well, first off, thanks everybody for super chatting. Let's see. Here we go. The man behind the screen again says, when things are hard or get hard again, we will, and we know that they will, give a listen to Hard Times by William Elliott Whitmore and take some strength from his message. I think we are going to rise above, and we're not going to go there. I know about, you know, the whole time, hard times, weak men. I don't remember exactly the lingo, but I think we're escaping it. We're not going to go there. Josh and Jesus says, Savanah, you've earned yourself a new follower today. Nice. Jake M says, you say that, but millions of people voted for Biden despite what the far left says. Yeah, I'm sure. Millions of people voted for him, but also they switch a lot of votes. The last I read, they have proof of 3.8 million votes that switched from Trump to Biden. 3.8 million. Now that would make Trump win the popular vote. If that's the case, if 3.8, that's almost 4 million. That means. And
again, just to reiterate, you really think. Yeah, I think he's at 72 right now, and or he was either at 70 and then Joe Biden was at 72. But just to reiterate, again, you really think that Joe Biden got more votes than 2008 Obama?
Yeah, you really think so? No, nobody does. Let's see. Wandu says Savanah is very cute.
Thank you.
Nice Big M says, I'm 26. For 15 years, I've heard if they push too far, they will regret it. Yep, exactly. That's what we're seeing right now. Tim Pool says, I'll hire you back if we can discuss our farts. Nice. Obviously not the real Tim Pool. He goes by Timcast. Faker is a faker. Crash says, fun fact, the brown shirts were a direct response to the same kind of BS going down now. History repeating itself. Wait for hyperinflation. I feel like we're, as I keep saying, most people don't want to fight. Most people aren't this extreme. It's the extremists that are the loudest, and that's what we're seeing right now. Mr. Wombat says, I don't care. I just want to be mad. It's the current mindset of those leftist goofs. I'm also sick of watching cops do nothing while the very citizens who support them get attacked and arrested.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to understand some cops, everyone likes to put cops in one bracket. Like one cop is the same as all cops. There's every different type of personality cop out there. Like, you probably have your goth, cops, and your bro cops and your nerd cops, and like whatever. There's just because cops are on the same thing doesn't mean they all have the same exact personality traits. Like, no, every cop that I've ever met, it seems very different, so there might be Democratic cops and Republican cops and good cops and bad cops. Like, everyone likes to put them in the same bracket. We really got to take them off a pedestal and stop pushing them all together. Let's see here. Witch Spawn says, we have Democratic leaders saying Trump supporters will pay for being on his side. There will probably be a civil war. Not that I want it. Yeah, or those leaders are going to be voted out or impeached because they don't realize that we, the people, have the power to do that. JVS, thank you for that super chat. Mr. Paul R says Trump needs to federalize all officers, charge rioters with federal crimes. The Insurrection Act, he could use it, but he's not an authoritarian. As people claim that he is a fascist. Like, you think you vote for fascists? No, get out of here. Carnell says, question for my vegan brother and the lovely Savanah. Would you say or think if you saw someone wearing a MAGA hat or BLM shirt at the same time? Interesting.
Wait, what I would think about that?
Yeah, if someone was wearing a BLM shirt and a MAGA hat, what would you think?
That one of them was a joke because I really don't see how the two could coincide. So I'd be like, which one's a joke here? I don't know. Or which one are you wearing, like, unironically? Oh, what is happening right now?
Okay, so, all right, so Carnell actually just sent me this. So I just got this in the mail. So I figured I might as well use this opportunity to say thank you to Carnell. Thank you so much
That's
for
awesome.
my dope space helmet. Very cool. So yeah.
You look like all the astronauts that Tesla just shot up into space yesterday.
All right, so thank you for that. Yeah, and that was really cool that they sent up 4 astronauts into space. It was very cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I just want to say thank you because that's who sent me that. Ace Spade says, I love you, Savanah. Nice.
So much love today. Thank you. I love your viewers.
You deserve it. Eldon says, Savanah, do you have a bodyguard with you or solo, and can you take care of business?
I have been attacked before, and I usually defend myself. I take kickboxing and Muay Thai classes for that specific reason. And hopefully, I'm in talks with like people from like Oath Keepers and like a lot of these other groups who are ready to just protect journalists who are on the ground trying to expose this. So I don't have a bodyguard right now. I go out solo, but just know that I'm not out there by myself. I have other friends that I'm usually kind of, we have eyes on each other. So if anything gets too hairy, we can kind of pull each other out.
Good to know. Not Your Problem says, Savanah, it's a bunch of Spanish. I don't know. I don't speak Spanish. And these are big words. I don't know how to, trabajando. I know that's to work or
work,
something. Yeah. Ardumente, saludos desde Oregon. Chino venezolano.
No sé.
Does that make any sense?
No sé. I have no idea. I'm sorry.
And then it says, Adam learned some Spanish. Yeah, that would have helped.
Oh,
you should have put that in the beginning, but that's funny how that worked out. Anyway, just got a super. Mavis says, I found that copy and paste leftist quote. I tagged you for you on Twitter. Thank you very much. I'm going to check that out. It's pretty funny. Walba says, how much time do we have? We got we got 10 minutes. I'm gonna see if I can find that real quick because I want to read this to you. It is It is ridiculous. Let's see. Someone, did you tag me in it? I don't see it anywhere. Oh, it's a shame. It is so gloriously like cringy in like the worst way. Like, oh my gosh, it's ridiculous.
Daily cringe. Love it.
It is. It's so bad. Oh, I don't know where it is. Okay, that's fine. Well, thank you anyway, Mavis. I wasn't able to find it on the quicks. Walba says Corn Pop died several years ago, so he can't talk to you, but he could have voted for Biden.
For Joe Biden, yeah.
I didn't even think about all the dead votes. 21,000 like people voted in Pennsylvania that we know of right now. My
And that's the funny thing too. Like my favorite part of election week was how Twitter just had up on their header, voter fraud is extremely rare. Election fraud is extremely rare. This is extremely rare. It was like reiterated so many times because, they can't have you believing what's actually happening.
Yep. It's almost as if they were complacent. Twitter. Looking at you, Jack. Let's see. Inky says, Trump's going to win. Love you, Adam. Thanks to the beautiful Savanah for being our guest tonight. Right on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Of course. The R Heretic says the Bolsheviks took over Russia with less than 1,500 members and brought the bloodiest genocide in human history. Part of Germany's overreaction and voting in of H was in response to the Bolsheviks. True, but they did not have the internet. They were not connected like we are. It is a completely different world. Because of the internet, because of us being as connected as we are, more than ever in human history that we know of. Like, when have we ever been more connected than right now? Like, even right now, you're in Texas right now, right? You're in Texas. We're talking live right now with 3,000 people watching us. Hopefully all of them have smashed the like button. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. JJ says living in Portland is getting very old. Where in Texas is a good place to go? Savanah, do you bachata or salsa?
I wish. I mean, I can dance, but neither of those two dances. And Texas, I love Austin because it's like a giant nature park, but it is very liberal. So I would say I'm right now in the Fort Worth area. It's very red. There's Trump flags everywhere. I like the vibe. Fort Worth, nice. Dallas area.
Cool. Salty Scotch says, yo, Adam. What up, Salty? Charmed says, check Trump's tweet, breaking news in Nevada. Oh, interesting. I will absolutely go there right after the show. Barnes Steele says, Adam, please take this money to buy bandwidth. Your internet is slower than Joe Biden's brain in his prime. All right. They are actually they're installing gigabit internet right now. I saw the spray painted lines of like where they're going to be digging. So it's happening. New internet's coming. SoCal Gunner says, does Savanah need a bodyguard? Keep up the great work and be careful out there. I reiterate that.
Always. But
yeah. If you see her out there, just say, hey, I'm on your side and got your 6. DK6 says, first time seeing Savanah and now a follower. Nice.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Seriously, watch her. She's on the ground on many things that you can. You're always on the ground. Every time there's a situation, you're reporting it. Let's see. Mr. Paul R said, if I would have been in DC, would have given you a family type hug, bro. Now following Savanah Hernandez on Twitter. Does she have a parlor? Do you have parlor?
I do have a parlor. It's at Sav Says, no underscores. So that's the only difference.
It's just Sav Says. Okay. Again, in the description below, you can find her Twitter handle. And then, of course, if you want to follow her on Parler instead, just get rid of the underscores. Same username. Very nice. Let's see. Raymond says, Savanah, you brought the heat tonight. Thank you very much. I'll second that. Salty Scotch says, Savanah, I'm a new sub. You seem normal. Look forward to following you. Nice.
I try to be.
Right on. Crazy Ferret Lady says, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. G. Michael Hoff. Love to all. Thank you, Crazy Ferret Lady. I appreciate that. That's what we were talking about earlier. Armadas says, I saw BLM people on the Trump side Saturday. Right on. I mean, I believe Black Lives Matter.
But that's the difference too, is that Black Lives Matter can be on the Trump side untouched. Not the same the other way around.
That's a good point. Untouched. You're all welcome. All nothing but love. Let's see. Mr. Obvious says Savanah is pretty, but Adam is prettier. What?
I
Come
second
on.
that. I second that.
No. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. John L says a lot of folks think we're repeating the 1850s US. We're more like 1920s Germany. Political extremism is forcing the population to polarize. I refuse. I refuse. I'm an American. I love Americans. I think that there's extremists that we are calling out, and I will continue to do that. Savanah, tell everybody how they follow you. Tell them what you're doing. I'm going to give you the camera, and it's going to be just you. Let them know what you're up to and how they can follow you.
So you guys can follow me on my Twitter account at sav_says_parlor sav says, and my Instagram sav with one N. That's the number 1. YouTube sav says as well. Pretty easy all across the board. Same for my accounts. And you know, I'm just going to keep trying to be on the ground, giving you guys the breaking news and coverage of what's actually going on the streets of America, because the mainstream media refuses to report on it. So go follow all my social media accounts so you guys can keep up to date on what's actually happening on the ground and decide for yourselves, you know, what's really going on in this country and which side you want to be on. So thank you guys for having me on the show. Oh, also, I am working with Elijah Schaefer of A Slightly Offensive now. So go to the Slightly Offensive YouTube. We're putting out 2 videos every single week. We have great guests on, and you know, go follow Elijah Schaefer on Twitter and on Instagram as well, because he and I are constantly cross-posting. We're always at the same events together. And like I said, we're working together now. So we're just trying to put out the content that America genuinely needs at this point, because the mainstream media refuses to do their job.
Very nice, very nice. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Savanah. It's been a pleasure to you know, have a nice conversation with you, and I look forward to watching your streams. You know, getting down into the dirt, you know, with Elijah as well. And very congrats, by the way, on your new gig. That's really
Thank you,
awesome.
thank you.
Really happy for you, and that's really cool. And we got one more. Mr. Paul R says Jesus Christ died for all lives matter. Yeah, I suppose so. That's true. Well, yeah. So that's my show. Tune in later on my Twitch channel. I go live after Timcast IRL. I'm going to be playing on my new PS5. I have Demon Souls all prepped and ready to go. Actually, you can see it here. Let me just steal this real quick. You can actually see my new PS5. Here's my controller. There it is, sitting all sexy right there. So thank you very much, Savanah. And everyone, have a wonderful night. And I will see you tomorrow on Adamcast IRL.
Thanks, Adam.
Of course.